It's Jenna and Papa Hughes for another episode on Life Podcast. Live intelligently, fun, and extraordinary. So I know we have all heard about ADD, Attention Deficit Disorder, but Papa Hughes is going to tell us about A.B.B.
Interesting. A.B.B. is all about attitude, beliefs, and behavior.
So what are some examples?
Well, I find it interesting in the 20th century, which I am in that generation, born a post-war baby boomer. I've seen a lot of changes in the past decades. But for you millennials, you're obviously going to see probably more changes, which I'm going to go in and elaborate on. And it's all due to A.B.B, attitude, beliefs, behavior. And what is that? In the consciousness of man, attitude, beliefs, behaviors changes from one generation to the next. And over time, civil law changes. I'll give you one example. And that one example is, look at the early 20th century. Women could not vote. Do you hear anything about that? You talk about the Me Too movement today. We talk about a lot of movements that are going on throughout the United States. Right now, the hot topic is immigration. But look at just this one issue alone where women could not vote. Not until 1920. And there was a 19th Amendment that was a very important amendment to the Constitution. And what happened? Well, if you remember, the 15th Amendment made it illegal for the federal and state government to deny any U.S. citizen the right to vote. And here you are, a woman, and you could not vote. Isn't that called hypocrisy? So what happened? In the 19th Amendment that Congress passed, it unified the suffrage laws across the United States to allow women to vote. Isn't that interesting? But how does that come about? Here we are coming out of the 19th century, going into the 20th century, women from the foundations of our Constitution and the creation of the United States of America, women were not allowed to vote. Is it a change of heart? Is it a change of perception? How is it that the men that dominated Washington, D.C., yet alone Congress and the Senate, said all of a sudden, oh, we need an amendment. We need to allow women to vote. They are citizens of the United States. Well, its attitude, beliefs, behavior had changed. The consciousness has changed. So, now it is, we go on, we could give numerous examples. How about the Catholic Church in the 60s, and under the Vatican II, what occurred? They started doing a lot of changes in the church. They changed the language of giving the Mass from Latin to what? English? They also allowed, it was no longer a sin to eat meat on Friday. These were enormous changes that were taking place. And what happened? You get a new pope, and attitude, beliefs, behaviors, they change. A whole new generation is coming forth in the 20th century. And what happens? Under attitude, beliefs, behaviors, it impacts the law, the civility of law. This is okay, this is not okay. Now we go into the 21st century. What have we seen recently? gay marriage is legal. Interesting. So we had women's right to vote, and we have same-sex marriage is legal. Well, what about 20 years ago? 30 years ago? Gambling illegal? Now it's legal in some form or matter at an Indian casino or a lottery ticket in virtually every state. Now it's legal here in the 21st century. So here you have some landmark and good examples of changes that occurred. Why? Because belief, because of attitude, because of behavior, all three, the A.B.B, attitude, beliefs, behavior, changes from generation to generation, and you're watching and witnessing as we speak landmark changes in what? Law. And what's right now occurring? You have something as simple as Boy Scouts of America. Now the name is changing to what? Scouts of America. What's going on there? Oh, girls can join the Boy Scouts, so they changed the name. Interesting. So the Vatican changes Mass from Latin to English language. It's okay to eat meat on Friday. It's no longer a sin. You see my point, folks? Changes are occurring. And not only from generation to generation, but in our society now, you see a lot of changes that are going on. I've seen a lot of changes. You millennials, who knows what changes you're going to see next?
Well, we already saw changes with unisex bathrooms, the same-sex marriage, as you mentioned. But I think also new law may change with gun control, illegal immigration, and then the trade wars that are about to happen. So hopefully with attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors, these will impact the new issues going on and change the law for the better. And that's a whole nother topic.
And now I'm going to throw out there in this discussion, we are seeing right now a big change, and it's impacting law from state to state to state. And I'm going to make a no-brainer prediction. Within probably the next decade, every state, just like I mentioned, gambling is acceptable or legal some way, form in every state, where 30 years ago is illegal. Now, what? Cannabis. It's going to be okay to smoke cannabis. And that's going to become legal. Probably in every state, which you're going to see in the next decade. That's a no-brainer, a prediction. And why is it? It's not because of some lawyer changing the law. It's because of A.B.B. Attitude, belief, and behavior is changing, and from the consciousness of generation to generation. And that's why you see these laws are changing, rules and regulations. I'll end it there.
Thank you, and stay tuned. We may elaborate on some new law that may be taking place soon. Bye for now.